As Thailand shut down all pubs, bars and massage parlours in 41 provinces for an initial 2 weeks as of Saturday, COVID figures rose from the 500s on Friday to Sunday's single daily figure of very close to 1,000. To put that into perspective, a few weeks ago, that would have been the total expected for 7 weeks. Now it's a single day. The nationwide spread is expected to continue as travel went unabated for the Thai New Year, and most provinces are planning for temporary clinics and hospitals, using in some cases hotel accommodation for hospital use. Provincial governors have autonomy and can add to the government's conditions at will, which will see several provinces introducing quarantine for visitors from the hotspots, albeit simply at the homes they plan to visit, and chances are that by the week's end we'll see further business and possibly school closures announced. Thai schools are currently on a long break with close to a month to go before they'd normally return. However, a ruling would affect private schools too, which operate sometimes on Western holiday planning. In the capital, many chose to remain there as opposed to taking part in the traditional exodus. Bus companies reported half the expected figures, and many viewed it as intelligent not to travel to their family homes, often in rural and distant areas, avoiding any chance of carrying the virus. That aside, experts predict outbreaks in areas where families do gather. The so-called UK variant, first spotted in Kent, which is the county where arrivals from Europe, legal and illegal, first touch UK ground, is almost twice as contagious as other strains, and that strain has been spotted more and more here. Will the vaccines work against the new variant? Almost certainly yes. All 3 leading vaccines develop an immune response against the existing spike. 1 million batches of the Sinovac vaccine have arrived in Thailand from China, ready for use within the community straight away. With other massive shipments either en route or planned, the inoculation program will soon be fully underway here. To date, we have no details of local private hospitals offering paid-for shots, but as soon as we do, we'll update you. Thailand currently has 2 vaccine models available in its vaccine program. That's the AstraZeneca and the Sinovac. As per the current guidelines, Sinovac's vaccine is given to people under the age of 60, whilst AstraZeneca is given to people older than that. In other news, His Majesty King Vajiralongkorn has sent a message offering his condolences to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, this on the death of her husband, His Royal Highness Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. The statement released by the Thai Royal Household Bureau states that the King and Queen are deeply saddened by the passing of His Royal Highness Prince Philip. More than 80 people have been killed by rifle grenades in yet more violent clashes between the military and protesters in Burma, seeing authorities open fire on the general public again there. With COVID now not even monitored, and Burmese fleeing in many cases to the Thai border, whilst assistance is given by Thailand to refugees, they're also automatically quarantined if and when spotted. Meanwhile at home, and in our own offices for Fabulous 103, we're closed to the public, affording every active staff member their own office, which is vented and air-conditioned, and contact, of course, is fully possible via media and phone. However, in the interests of health, we sadly don't currently welcome visitors. The city was seemingly quieter than expected at the weekend. Some haunts were busy, with many having already booked hotels, but accommodation rates were, to say the best, okay, as cancellations were rife in some cases. Police road checks around the city and on the east side too have seen numerous arrests on DUI charges. Those checks will remain in place and are recorded on camera to avoid any slipping of a few thousand baht to avoid testing. Once arrested, drunks face jail until the courts reopen after the holidays, unless of course they can afford the bail, so it's best to use a taxi. With bars and clubs, go-go's and karaokes all ordered to close, concern is rising amongst those who work in the entertainment industry here that 2 weeks simply won't cut the mustard, and they are without doubt probably right. Closures and subsequent reopenings will depend on COVID count reduction, and at the moment that's not on the cards either. For many businesses, it could be curtains. For others, it certainly will mean borrowing, wherever possible, to keep closed and hope for reopening again. The city's just begun to recover from the Christmas closures, and local trade along with domestic tourism saw those who did open just about covering costs, but with no room for savings. A happy ending for 6 elephants this weekend. As we reported a while back, a troop of handlers along with their elephants were planning to make the long trek home to the north by foot, as business here had died on its feet for them. Generous help saw trucks arrive and pick them all up for a free ride home, which will see the animals healthily arrive in their natural environments and able to be cared for at no cost there, where nature provides the menu. The Thai Elephant Federation, along with a private donor, kindly made the trip possible. And with the reminder, mitts, masks and meters more important than ever. Wash your hands, wear a mask and keep social distancing. And the Met Office promising highs today of around 30, dropping down to 26, and the guarantee of rain at some time. That is the local and national news from Fabulous 103 FM, keeping you in touch with Thailand and of course Pattaya, which was once the city of fun.